Sairam, everyone. I offer myself at the divine lotus feet of our dearest Bhagwan. Sairam, thank you all for joining in on this meeting. As we're coming to a year's end, we just came off of some very nice meetings with the Executive Council in Prashanti and the General Assembly meeting, and the national presidents were on the General Assembly meeting. Due to some scheduling conflicts, there was going to be a town hall meeting to disseminate some of the information more widely. So that was one of the reasons I wanted to have this call, just to share some of what we discussed at those meetings. And most of it was an update on what's happening with Global Council since its inception. How have things been going? What are the activities that are going on? And then what's going to happen moving forward in the future. So the first part of the meeting, I'm going to go through a presentation. And what I've done is I've combined a lot of the material that some of the other zonal chairs shared. And I thought it was very inspiring to see some of the wonderful work that's going on around the world globally. And then we can share a little bit about what's coming up, leading all the way up to the centennial celebrations in 2025. So Brother Barney is on standby in case I have some trouble with my presentation. So I'm going to try to see how that works for me. And then let me know if you can see it. Okay, can you all see my screen?
Yes, brother.
Okay, wonderful. So this is the agenda that was sent out, and I'm going to start out with a little bit of messaging about Global Council. People still periodically ask about what we should do in certain situations, so we'll review some of that first. Then the bulk of the meeting will be the review of what happened at the Executive Council and General Assembly meetings. And then we'll spend some time discussing the regional national officer terms, the center selections, center leaders conference, and some of the other activities that are going to be coming up. So some of the messaging, one of the main messages regarding Global Council is that now we're one family. It's one family, one umbrella that includes Prashanti Nilayam. It includes Sri Satya Sai Central Trust. It includes the Seva organizations of India. So we're really one large family, and we're working much more cohesively than ever before. And this is one of the big strengths with this united venture that's been undertaken. So to try and get across that message, one of the things we've been doing is we want to try to optically make that message that we're one family come through in many modalities. So what we did is we wanted to use the Prashanti Sarva Dharma logo as the base. And we have this, we wanted to easily identify with Prashanti Nilayam in everything that we do. So this was the new logo that our graphic artists beautifully designed, using the fundamental logo with some of the human values. And this one has Zone 1 on it. We also have with Canada, if you want to use it for the Canada purposes, and for the USA and West Indies as well. So it gives you some options of which logo you can use for some of your brochures and letters and websites and other modalities of communication that go out. The other thing we want to do is we're in the process of aligning our websites. Again, for the same thing, we want to really, when somebody goes on a Global Council website, it should be clearly evident that it's one family. And so we're trying to get the colors, the layout, the menus to align with some of the sites. So this is the Sri Satya Sai Global Council website out of Prashanti Nilayam. This is the Central Trust website. This is the Sri Satya Sai Seva organization's website. So they kind of have a very common theme and look to it. So that's what we're trying to emulate. And that's in the works right now. It's been delayed for various reasons, and hopefully it's back and hopefully within the next couple of weeks will be released at least at the zonal level. So some of the main focus with what we're trying to do with Global Council. Global Council is really center-centric. It really wants the centers to have their say and their functions, and at the same time have it be aligned to what a Swami wanted for his organization. And so we've forwarded to all the national officers and the regional officers the digital versions of the 3 books that are compilation of discourses regarding the organization. And it's a wonderful resource that I encourage everyone to refer to over and over again. It's every discourse where Swami specifically talked about the organization, all the wings from the inception to the running of it, and it's very, very valuable. Let's see. And then also we have the operational guidelines that were developed, and these were based out of the original charter. The 1981 charter was the original charter for all SSSGC organizations. And so that was the foundation for the operational guidelines that the Global Council came out with in May. And then we have our own supplemental Zone 1 guidelines. And what we did was we talked about some things, some gaps that were not in the operational guidelines. And the majority of these guidelines are using Swami's direct quotes. What has he said about different facets of the organizations? And again, this is a wonderful resource that I would encourage you to really encourage your leadership teams, your centers to use as an ongoing resource. And of course, we had our officer orientation meetings, and when the new slate of officers resumes in January, at the end of January, we'll be having some more officer meetings. So improving on communication, just a reiteration, we went to a Gmail suite, and we're really encouraging people to use the official email IDs. We're going to be trying to help standardize use of files and folders so it's easier to share back and forth with each other. Communication protocols on how we can communicate more effectively. And of course, as a reminder, we never distribute any negative material. We don't distribute any unofficial messages, rumors, no place for that as officers. And we want to encourage the use of an online integrated calendar that will populate. So when different areas of Canada are doing programs, all of Canada will be able to see what's going on where. Same thing with the US, same thing with the West Indies. And so we want these to be integrated so when you enter something, everybody can be aware of what's happening when at the regional, national, zonal levels, and that can help with future planning. And we want to encourage more independence at the country level as well. When we first started out, we were doing a lot of things at the zonal level because we were just getting off the ground. And so now we want each nation has their own media teams, their own website teams, and we want each country to really have independence in running things the way they really want to do it. The messaging has to be clear. Regarding outside organizations, we frequently get these questions, and I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. So regarding anybody that belongs to other organizations, all are invited to attend any of our programs, our devotional programs, educational programs, service activities. Everyone is invited to attend our center programs, our national programs, regardless of membership. However, if you're part of our Balavikas or Sri Sathya Sai EduCare program, you have to be registered with Global Council. So the parents have to register with the child as part of Global Council. Same thing when we run special functions such as courses, when we have officer training, if we go on pilgrimage, again, you have to register as a Global Council member. And officers, if we're officers in Global Council, we really should refraining from going to activities from other organizations. Because as an officer, you really should be spending your spare time developing programs within your own organization, and providing a service to your fellow members. False rumors, I think these still periodically, hopefully not as often as they used to, but they still periodically circulate. So it's important that we're all on the same page when center members will ask us these questions. One false rumor is, well, they're not allowing people that are not part of Global Council to visit Prashanti Nilayam. And that's not true at all. Prashanti Nilayam is a public place of worship for anyone, whether you're a devotee, non-devotee, you can belong to any organization, all organizations. Everyone has the right to visit Prashanti Nilayam. So everyone's welcome at Prashanti Nilayam. Now, if you're part of the Global Council, and if you're an officer, or if you're there for a special event, then you may have access to special accommodations, special seating, special privileges being part of the officer at an event. But as far as anybody can go into the general seating and enjoy the presence of being in Prashanti Nilayam. The other rumor that's been circulating is people that are not part of Global Council are being evicted from their rooms in Prashanti Nilayam, and that again is a false rumor. No one is being evicted. There have been some prominent people that have decided on their own volition to leave their rooms. When the pandemic was in full swing, a couple of years went by and many rooms were neglected. So for safety and health reasons and renovation issues, many were accessed to clean them out, but no one was evicted from their rooms. And then the other false rumor that's been circulating is don't bother joining up with Global Council. We're soon going to merge with the SSIO, so you don't have to do anything. And again, that is a false rumor. Global Council is up and running, and it's the only recognized organization out of Prashanti Nilayam, based out of Prashanti Nilayam, and it carries on the legacy of all institutions affiliated with Prashanti Nilayam. So somehow that was out of order. So let me go on to the bulk of the meeting, the bulk of the presentation, which is the Executive Council General Assembly meetings that we had. So just as an FYI, when we first launched Guru Purnima 2021, there was 781 centers that had signed up to be part of Global Council. And as of November, we now have over 1,300 centers that have signed up with Global Council around the world. And every month, new centers are signing up. And usually the scenario is people really weren't aware that they now belong to an organization that had cut ties with Prashanti. And once they're aware of that fact, they usually come and get exposed to the rationale for the formation. And once they get educated, they often want to come and join Global Council. And our message is everyone is welcome. All are welcome to join Global Council. It's Swami's organization. You're all welcome at any time. So what happened at the recent birthday celebrations in Prashanti Nilayam? As you know, it's the first birthday celebration since the pandemic. And it was the most crowds that have come to Prashanti Nilayam since the Mahasamadhi. There was packed in the hall. Many new devotees are coming. Apparently 30% of those coming to Prashanti Nilayam are first-time visitors. This was the first time in over a decade that they had to close the Ganesh and Gopuram gates into the ashram because the crowds were so high. And they had free food for 7 days. And just on birthday alone, they had 75,000 free lunches that were served. So it was a wonderful atmosphere. And I was there for the early part of it. And it really felt like the days when Swami was in there, physical presence. That's what the crowds were like walking through the ashram. So what were some of the activities? I'm going to quickly go through the Zone 1 activities. Most of you should be familiar, but it's good to just remind us what's happened. And this is mainly activities since July, since the Guru Purnima. So we've had educational activities across the countries, educational coordinator meetings, teacher training sessions, online SSE classes, a couple of SSE publications, the Teacher of Truth, Human Values, uh, some of these informational pamphlets that have been put out that have been very helpful for parents and children and teachers. On the educational front, we're currently having the Human Values Practical Application course. There have been EHV courses in the work, and several trips, and the SSE PAVE, which is our EHV outreach program that's been working. So as you know, the practical application course is going on in full swing, modeled after our Sri Satya Sai awareness course, a 10-week course. Has been received very well by devotees that are attending it. Some samples of different EHV programs in Trinidad. They had the visit to the Girls College, where 500 students were exposed to the human values curriculum. We had a field trip in Trinidad, human values field trip in conjunction with the Ministry of Agriculture. The PAVE program, which is the Sri Satya Sai program of awareness for human values and educare. They are outreaching different organizations and giving human values training. So one of the groups they're working with in the US is the Black Mothers Forum, the Shelter House, Aliada, which is for handicapped children, a residential facility. And this is where they've been engaging with human values training. Some educational activities relating to Vedas. That's always been dear to many people's hearts. And as an organization, we're really trying to foster that. Not that, as with any activity in Swami's organization, all are encouraged to participate in everything, but you will go where your heart is. So if your heart is for the Vedas, we want to give opportunities so people can partake and engage in Veda chanting and learn Veda chanting. So we have our Zonal Vedas Committee, Sacred Chants Committee. We've had some panel discussion programs. We've done a survey for who's out there in our zone to teach. And this is something that's on the horizon to see how can we best facilitate Vedas learning for those in our zone that want to undertake that venture. We had a panel discussion regarding Vedic prayers and yajnas, a two-part discussion just to educate people on Vedas and yajnas. We had some ongoing educational talks and interviews, medical education series, our Awake, Unite, and Inspire program out of Trinidad, where Sai devotees talk about medical education using a Sai perspective, what has Swami said about these topics, and what can we learn from a preventative standpoint and a health education standpoint. There's been, weekly wonderful interviews with Sai devotees around the world, from Mr. Faiz Mohammed in Trinidad, who puts on a wonderful session to hear inspiring stories with devotees. And devotional activities, we have our ongoing 1008 sadhana program leading up to the centennial celebrations. Of course, we had our Pathway to Prashanti pilgrimage, which many of you were fortunate to be on. Our Ladies Wing is underway. We had a yajna for world peace. So here's our website for the 1008 sadhana. Here's some pictures of our Prashanti pilgrimage. Our Ladies Wing is under formation, and they're planning on having Karuna Munshi from Prashanti Nilayam come for a ladies conference. That's the planning is in the works for that. We had our Vedic prayers, yajna in Trinidad. That was very, very successful. It was well received by the community. The hall was filled with many people from all organizations coming in to partake. And of course, we were so blessed to have Sri Vedanarayan serve as the Ritvik for the ceremonies. And I'm hoping that something like this could be brought to the other countries in our zone. Hopefully Canada and US might be able to make avail of some similar type program this coming year. Each of the countries had a very successful global Akanda sessions within their countries, and they all participated in the joint sessions coordinated by the Media Center in Prashanti Nilayam. And of course, we had the 4th volume of our Sidelights magazine that was presented at the birthday. And again, I encourage all of you to encourage your centers to submit articles, submit photos, submit anything they're doing to the magazine, because the more of us that participate, the more we can inspire each other and be connected with each other. So going on to SEVA, of course, this is the heart of our organization, and 95% of our SEVA is done at the center level. And these are just some sample pictures. You know, we have meal serving, we have food bank serving different places. So this is just a sample of a food serving project going on in one of our centers. This is harvesting, where excess, many times there's not enough labor to harvest vegetables, and it just goes to waste. So the devotees will go out and harvest the vegetables and give them to local food banks. Medical is always a big thing. I know in Canada, you have a very successful blood donation drive. We had our international medical camp in July, and then we had it again in November, and it was extremely successful. It was the first time that we, under the same banner, the Indian medical camp and the international medical camp, worked together, 2 different campuses, serving devotees, sharing medications, sharing physicians. It was just very, very wonderful learning opportunity for both of us, and over 8,000 patients were served, and at least 40, 50 physicians attended. It was just a wonderful, wonderful event. And then ongoing medical camps throughout our zone, different screening camps. This is an example of a dental treatment camp that took place earlier this summer. We've had humanitarian relief projects. This is an example of a hurricane that hit Florida and some of the supplies that were sent in to help. Here's an example from the Scarborough Center with their blood donation drive. Grow Green has always been a big thing, especially with the young adults. Different projects of planting trees, and then our zone-wide Greening Your Life initiative, the simple affordable initiatives that was put on by our zone, where we could each choose an activity to help do our part to sustain Mother Nature. So going on, I just pulled a few samples from some of the zones just to give an idea of what's happening in different places, just a little flavor. Obviously, we would be here all day if we listened to the entire presentations from everyone, but I just wanted to pick out a few samples. Zone 3 is Australia, New Zealand, and Fiji, and they have similar programs like we do. They have their ongoing Life Lessons with Sai series. They have their devotional offering series that they put on online. They're doing their pilgrimage this Christmas, so they're getting ready for their Pathway to Prashanti pilgrimage. Similar Veda classes they've been putting on as well. This is some of their SSC program activities. Lots of seva, similar to what we do, environmental cleanup, tree plantation, blood donation. It's just heartening to see. Wonderful. They have a mobile health clinic screening bus that goes to different areas of the country. Again, disaster relief that's been coordinated in several areas. They have a very active ladies wing, and this is a wonderful online program that the ladies wing puts on Sai experiences with prominent devotees. They also have a very active young adults wing, just like Canada and the US and Trinidad has, and they put on some wonderful events to help inspire the young adults. And going on to Zone 4, some very interesting things going on in Zone 4. And Zone 4 is the Asian countries and Sri Lanka, Nepal, Myanmar. I think we have in Global Council probably close to 2,500 devotees in Sri Lanka, and we have over 38,000 devotees in Nepal. Very inspirational, the work they're doing. This is Nepal, their education. They have 19,000 trained SSE teachers, 19,000 in the country. They offer annual residential programs where the young adults have a 9-day program where they spend 9 days at their facilities immersing themselves in a retreat, and then they get certifications for leadership. They have a 7-day guru training program for teachers, and then they have a pre-youth training program for 5 days. And the reason they can have these residential programs is they have so many of their own buildings that the organization owns. So this is, they have all of these buildings are entirely owned and run by the Sai organization. And Nepal is not a country of wealth. And it's just the devotees that somehow through hard work and prayer just give their little contributions, and somehow every project they start, the zone chair was sharing with us, there's zero money in the funds. And they make a resolution and they prayer to Swami, and by the end of the year, the project is done. So these are some of the buildings they put up over the years, classroom buildings, boys hostel, girls hostel. This is another school in a different location. This entire building is a health center run by Sri Sathya Sai Global Council. They have 2 ambulances for the country.
Yes, speaker.
They have an old age home. This is a Sri Sathya Sai Global Council old age home where they support those that can't take care of themselves from impoverished segments of society. They have a children's home where children that have been neglected or abused or trafficked are brought in and rehabilitated. And many of these children go on to get a college education. They have an amazing water supply. A lot of the young adults take the lead on these. And they've had 9 water projects. And each of these projects is about 50 kilometers of pipeline that they lay. And this is in very mountainous, rocky terrain. This is I don't know if this video will work. I'm going to try to play it. There's no audio on it, but this is the latest building that they just built, and they're going to be opening it. It's about a 2-minute video, but it's a beautiful building and facility that they just opened up. And these are just some drone shots of the scope of this building. This is going to be a school, a meeting center, a retreat center.
Yes. What are you doing?
And it's still under construction. And I think the grand opening ceremony will be in March. And hopefully one of the trustees will be coming from India to help inaugurate the building. And this is one of the big meeting halls. And it's a beautiful Murti of Swami that was imported from India. So very, very inspiring what's going on around the world. Let me see if we have one other. Oh yeah, Zone 5 I threw in there. This is interesting because 95% of Zone 5 devotees are of Chinese origin, and they speak only Chinese languages. So they also have their EHV and Balvika's programs. Their bhajans are mainly in the Chinese languages. And they also do the Narayana Seva. This is a wonderful project, the Street Sleepers Seva. Many of the homeless people that live on the streets, they go to where they are, provide them supplies, provide them food, blankets on an ongoing basis. They also have an interesting project where they support animals. And of course, Swami loved animals, and animal seva is so important. So they would take stray kittens and provide, rescue them from the streets and find homes for them. And they also had blood donations. They have a whole house renovation seva that's going on. And then Zone 6 is the UK and Europe. And UK is very active. They have, I think, 95% of the UK is Global Council aligned, and they're extremely busy. The rest of the countries in Europe are not English-speaking countries, and they've had, it's been very slow for them to understand and receive the message of Global Council. And just very, very recently, they're starting to come on board. So Italy, many centers have just signed up this past month. Same thing with Spain. And the Western Canteen is now open with the Italian devotees once again resuming the seva for there. So that was mainly the some of the activities going around. So Global Council is extremely busy, and we're so blessed to all be connected to Prashanti. And really the goal is just continue to put our nose to the grind and continue on our own journey of self-transformation by first and foremost doing seva, and then as well as the other activities of the organization. So the national, we talked about the center selection process earlier when we were last together. Regarding the national and any regional officer terms, what I want to do is I want to set up a one-on-one call with each of the national and regional officers. And I'm going to send this link out after the meeting that'll be forwarded to you. It's a Google Calendar link, and you can sign up for a time slot that works well for you. So these are just going to be one-on-one meetings that I have with each of the national and regional officers. Basically, I just want to listen to your perspective, listen to your advice, your experience as an officer, what went well, what could be done better, and I just want everyone to have an opportunity to contribute. So I'll be sending that link out to the national presidents after the meeting, and then it can be shared for people to pick an appointment slot that works for them. So the center officer selections, as a reminder, we wanted to do this as a unified process across the zone. We standardized the methodology and timeline. Our guiding principles is what direction has Swami given, what guidance has Swami given. That's of primary importance. We want it to be fair, we want it to be transparent, we want it to be consistent. So that's been ongoing at many of the centers, and the process should be completed by December 15th, and then it's going to be submitted to the national teams for final confirmation by the national councils, and that should be done by Christmas, by December 25th. And basically what's going to happen at the national council level, they're not going to be micromanaging and overturning anything that happens at the center level. The questions they're going to ask is, was the protocol followed? Was every active member given a chance to participate and to nominate? Was there unanimity? And to acknowledge if there's any concerns or complaints, we want to acknowledge that and have the committee address that. You know, in Swami's organization, even if one person is not happy, we want to know about that. We want to give them the satisfaction of at least voicing their concerns. Now, it doesn't mean we're going to act on every concern, but we can certainly be obligingly to listen, even though we may not be able to oblige in what they want. So moving on, we're having our Center Leaders Conference that's coming up. Let me just stop for a second. Sister Aruna, was this the time you wanted to pause for some questions?
Yeah, it was.
Brother, after the YA update, please. This
Okay,
is
sure.
also you can go on, and the next one.
Okay, wonderful. So this is another wonderful activity that's going to be held in Prashanti Nilayam, July 4th and 5th, a 2-day event right after Guru Purnima, which is July 3rd. And this is for all center leaders, national, regional, and center presidents. So this is who this is targeting from around the world. They did a similar thing a few months ago for the Indian center presidents and Indian center leaders, and it went very, very well. And so they're trying to model this same type of a thing for the rest of the Global Council around the world. So information has been sent out, and sign-up links are there. So I encourage all of you to pass this on, discuss it with your centers, and depending on how many people will be able to come, and depending on what venues they have available to accommodate those people, there may be a chance to allow others to take part, perhaps other center members, officers. But for now, it's restricted to national, regional, and center presidents until we hear otherwise. And these are some of the committees that are being formed. It's still all under the planning phase. So we do have a couple of representatives from our zone that are on this planning committee. And if any one of you is interested in helping plan this conference, please let me know and we'll submit your name to the committee. They're always looking for people with ideas, people that want to take part in any of the committees. They have, it's like when we go for our own pilgrimage, they have the same type of a setup. All of these committees are set up and they're always looking for those that are interested in participating. So if any of you want to participate in any of these planning committees, please let me know. The Young Adults Leadership Program. This has been designed by the young adults for the young adults. And they've been working very hard for several months, doing a lot of research, polling different young adults, going through different programs that Nepal had a leadership program, India had a leadership program, going through some of their work experience leadership programs. And they really designed a wonderful program that's centered on Swami's teachings and yet dealing with real day-to-day issues, real life issues that young adults face, and how to cope with it and how to be a leader in today's world. So it's a wonderful program that's being launched. It's going to take place from January to July, and the bulk of the program is online. There are going to be 14 online sessions on alternate weekends going on for 25 weeks. Each session is 90 minutes. And then it concludes with a 4-day residential session in Puttaparthi. And then everybody who completes the program in Sai Kulwant Hall will get a certificate at the Mahasamadhi of completing this leadership program. So this is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for young adults, and they're going to try to coincide it with the leadership conference. So in one trip, you can attend the final days of this youth leadership along with the center leaders, and the youth will be invited to the center leaders conference activities as well. So before we go on to the Christmas program, let me turn it back over to Sister Aruna and see if there's anybody that has any questions or anything that we want to discuss before we go on further.
Sairam, everyone. Now we have covered halfway through the agenda. Now, if anyone has any question at this point, Brother Akshay will take it down. And the thing is, right now, most of the centers are going on the center officers selection. If you have any question in regards to that you can clarify at this point. And the other thing is, I know there are YAs has joined on this meeting, and there are some questions from YAs in regards to this program also. Please post your question or raise your hand, then we will call you. We will see, we will get your name and we'll call for you to speak up. Thank you, Saira. There's one question is posted by Jataki. Brother, can you see that question, please? Sairam, what dates will the YA residential program is in Patti be?
It's the Perti portion is not finalized. I think they're still working out those details. And there's just a new email they sent out this today. So I'll take a look at that. I'm going to be sending it out. But they're thinking of trying to have it somewhere around that July 3rd, 4th time period. So somewhere around July 3rd, 4th. And we should know over the next several days the exact days. And it was originally planned to be 4 days residential.
Okay. So any other question from, there's a question, there's a question in regards to participating in activities. That is the any devotees can participate in any program, but they want little more clarification on that, because can they participate in the special, like a retreat? Can the if they are not member of SSGC, can they participate? This one question, I got it in the WhatsApp.
Yeah, it's a good question, and I'll try my best to answer it, and you can ask a follow-up question for clarification if you need it. So if for instance, we have a center and we have a bhajan session, a devotional singing session. Anybody can come. Anybody can come to that session, whether you're a member or not. Everyone's welcome to our center programs. So if there's a devotional singing session at a center, or even if it's a retreat, anyone is welcome to come, sit, and enjoy the program. But if you're not part of the Global Council, then you shouldn't expect to be an organizer of the program. You shouldn't expect to be someone that's putting the program together. You shouldn't be someone that's given a speaking opportunity. You shouldn't be someone that's giving a lead role. You shouldn't be someone that, doing something that is not somebody that's a member. But as somebody that comes and wants to enjoy the program, you're welcome. Going on to Seva. If you're doing any kind of service project, anyone can help with the Seva. Any organization. They can be part of, the local church, the local mosque. They can be your neighbor. They can be the Chinmaya mission, Shivananda mission. They're all welcome. They can come and help Seva. The key issue is the Global Council should be organizing the Seva. The officer should be supervising the Seva and the protocols to be followed and the roles that are allotted, those types of things. So same thing with the retreat. If there's a retreat, regional retreat, national retreat, center retreat, anyone can come to a retreat. The only time there could be an issue is, say, you're worried that space may be limited. So if there's something where the hall can only hold 200 people or something like that, then you might require registration, and then that registration may need to be more stringent for a Global Council. So if there's a restriction on how many can come or fit, then you may want to say, well, you have to be a registered member of Global Council to be able to participate. But if space is not an issue, then everyone is welcome. We're happy to share our love with everybody. Does that answer the question?
Yes, that's a great answer for that question. I hope that person asking the question would have got the answer. I know the center selection process. I wanted to make a comment based on the one comment I got from the WhatsApp. There are leeways, as Brother Akshay has mentioned before. And if you still, and some of the centers has different restrictions based on their constitutions and any kind of question, there is a leeway. But if you still have any question in regards to the selection process, you may clarify at this point. That would be helpful for others also. So please, if anybody has any question in regards to your center selection process, please post your question, please. Thank you. Sorry.
And maybe while somebody's posting their question, I can just say a few things on the center selection process. One of the biggest issues has always been center officer selection. And I think Swami just pushes the buttons and sits back and washes all the controversy that occurs. So I think our role is to try to be as true to Swami's teachings as possible, to be fair, to be transparent, to make sure that the membership has a say, to make sure that no one person is being a dictator or bureaucrat or we want this to be, every member should feel like this is their organization. And so that's one of the rationales, is we want to really give people confidence. And even somebody that's not part of the organization, if they from the outside look in, just like, for instance, I can share when I wasn't part of the organization. Before I joined as a young adult. Before that, before I was part of the organization, you come and you observe, how do these people behave? And it would really strike favorably when you find out that there's no money solicited, when you see these types of practices in place. So a practice where members are empowered, where things are fair, where everybody has a say, that's attractive. And that can draw people into Swami and open them to then be exposed to Swami's teachings. And so I think that that's also something that we who are already exposed to Swami's teachings, we can't be selfish with it. We can't just, hoard his teachings for ourselves. We have to leave the door open so people can get exposed to it. I think that's part of our role, is to be the example and behave in such a way that then people want to be like, who influences you? How come you're behaving in this way? We don't want to behave in a way where people want to say, I don't want to be like you, So at an organizational level, that's what we're striving for. Now, because the Global Council is so new, and we've just been getting off the ground, and there's been a lot of confusion and controversy. What we're doing is we're introducing this, but for many centers, we've really given them a lot of flexibility for this cycle. So some centers have very restrictive constitutions. So we've tried to work as well as we can to work within their constitutions for this cycle. For next cycle, we're going to be a little bit more coherent and a little bit more insistent that we follow the Global Council operational guidelines. But for this cycle, some centers are restricted by their current constitution, which you can't change overnight. So we've been a little bit forgiving for that. Some centers, the officers were selected very recently, or there's still organizing happening. So we've given a lot of flexibility for this term to continue, for many centers, continue their current list of officers until the next cycle. And so a lot of these decisions are made by the national president. So please consult with Sister Aruna in Canada and their respective national presidents in Trinidad, Brother Krishna and Brother Balu. So that's kind of the overall picture for the selection process. I don't know if there's any specific questions that have come up.
Brother, I don't see any other questions, but yes, and they can send us the feedback based on the center selection process guidelines that you would be looking into it. Am I right? Yes.
Yes. So we're going through this process, and formally the national team, I'm going to be meeting with the national teams formally in a week or so, just to review how did it go in all the centers, what were the decisions, how was the process done, what were some of the comments, and we're going to review it formally, document it formally, and then keep it in mind for the next cycle, which is 2 years from now. And so this is a progress in evolution, and the goal is to make it as good as can be. That's our heart. Our heart is to make it as good as it can be, because that's what Swami's organization deserves.
Brother, that's all the questions are for now. And now we can continue with your agenda.
Okay, great. And then if any more questions pop up, feel free to enter them in the chat. So Christmas program is coming up, and this is exciting. It'll be, again, the first Christmas program since the pandemic, and the New Zealand and South Africa teams are taking the lead on this. The choir is ongoing. You should have gotten an email about the songs they'll be singing. So even if you can't go physically to Prashanti, please join in, learn the songs, sing them, practice them. Perhaps you can sing 1 or 2 of them in your center or programs for Christmas. And this is, again, in the spirit of unity, where we can learn some of these things together and celebrate this wonderful, joyous occasion. And of course, anybody that wants to go is more than welcome to come to Prashanti Nilayam and be there in person. Chinese New Year celebrations in May 4th and 5th. And anybody, of course, of Chinese heritage is strongly encouraged to come. This is a wonderful display of Chinese heritage devotees showing their culture. And as we know, Swami is for all cultures and all religions and all paths. And this is a wonderful way for people to come and share their heritage in front of the Mahasamadhi. So these plans are ongoing right now as well. The Sri Sathya Sai Central Trustees are planning to visit around the world in 2023 and 2024. And so over the next couple of weeks, they're trying to come up with a schedule, So, give it some thought. If there's some time periods that you think would work really well for our zone, I'm trying to convince Brother Ratnakar, the managing trustee, to come. So I'm hoping he will come to Zone 1. And so it would be nice to see when would be the most convenient time for him according to his schedule. And then if you have some ideas, please send them over to me as to what times do you think would be favorable. And so the dates will be determined over the next couple of weeks. So hopefully several of the trustees will come our way. And that should be a wonderful opportunity to ask them directly the vision for the ashram and for the trust and for Swami's mission in general. We have speakers made available to us from Prashanti Nilayam. And so this is the current list of speakers, and the national team has these names. So you are all encouraged to make avail of these speakers if you have some events. And again, because they're coming from Prashanti, they're all very busy. They have their schedules. So it would be nice if you do invite these speakers to try to make it a multi-center event or a regional event or a national event, just to give as many people an opportunity to be exposed to these dynamic speakers. But these are all speakers that you can approach. And the protocol for approaching the speakers is you work through your national president and let them know that you want to approach this speaker and find out directly from the speaker. So you can reach out to the speaker. The national president has their contact information. Reach out to the speaker and find out if they're available for the dates you would like them to. Once you confirm the availability of the speaker, then send me an email, copy the national president, the regional president, as to this name of the speaker, what program they're invited to, what dates, whether it's in person, whether it's via Zoom. And then my role is I have to send a formal request to their department head in Prashanti Nilayam. So whoever their department head is, I send them a formal request that such and such place is requesting such and such speaker for such and such event for such and such topic. And then they will give formal approval. And once they get the formal approval, then you can go ahead and coordinate the event with the speaker. And so this process is pretty streamlined. It can occur usually within a couple of days. And so these are the lists, and your national presidents have that. And so feel free to make avail of the use of these speakers for your programs. Calendar events, I think this is something that's the goal for this coming year. Let's see if we can use our websites and discuss with your national media coordinator how to best do this. If you're not familiar, how to enter the programs. We want to really try to have a nice coordinated website where at one glance, one-stop look, you can see what's happening in Canada, what's happening in the US, and plan accordingly. If you're on the road, if you're going to visit some relatives out of the country, you can go to this calendar and see if something's happening in your neighborhood. So I think this can be a very powerful tool that we just need to get into the mind frame of, as we plan our events in the future, just enter them into this calendar and discuss it with your national media coordinator, who will help come up with the best format and methodology in your country to initiate that. And so this is the Sri Sathya Sai Global Council website. And one of the sections on their website is community engagement. And it lists activities across the globe. So you can see right here, somebody in zone 5 listed in an activity, the Narayana Seva activity with photos and a report. Indonesia listed a Go Green activity, Mauritius healthcare activities. So I really encourage all of the centers and encourage the center presidents to, if they do an activity, take some photos, do a little report, and coordinate with your national president and the media coordinator, and directly the national media coordinator can just upload these as they come through. So every week you should be getting some activity that's happening and just upload it onto the website. It should take 2 minutes to upload. So we just have to encourage, because the centers are doing such wonderful seva. And the more we put it on this website, anybody that comes to the website can be inspired. They can just screen some of the activities. They might get some ideas. Oh, maybe we can replicate what they're doing in Indonesia, or maybe we can replicate what they're doing in Canada. So this is a wonderful way to show some of the seva that's doing, so we can inspire each other to do more and more seva. So I do encourage all of this, encourage all of your center presidents to as soon as an event is done, send some photos, send a quick little report through the media coordinator, and they can reach this on a weekly basis as these events come through. We can just continue to put them into the website. And we'll give the media coordinators direct access to that website, so you don't have to go through any intermediary. We'll just, each national meet. So Brother Barney for Canada, if you send him the material, he'll be able to just log in and himself directly load it up onto the Prashanti website. And then just a reminder, Prashanti Connect is a wonderful application for the mobile app. And anything you're looking for is going to be on this: live events, announcements, thought of the day. They've listed all of Satya Sai Speaks, all of Satyam Shivam Sundaram, all of the Vahinis. They're all available for free, all through your smartphone. So it's just a wonderful, wonderful resource. And I was very fortunate to meet with Brother Sundar, the director of the Media Center, when I was in Prashanti, and we discussed some further features that they might be able to add to the website. And one of the things I was really hoping is Veda chanting and Veda learning. And we had some ideas that we chatted that hopefully when they have some time, we'll get Brother Aruno involved as head of the Vedas committee and see how we can help coordinate with the Media Center and get some Veda learning modalities built into this website as well. So do load these onto your smartphone, encourage the members to load them up, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful resource to be connected to Prashanti and all of its wonderful activities. So the centennial celebrations are coming up, 2025, the 100th year of the advent of Sri Satya Sai Avatar. So this is going to be a year-long celebration. And the trust members are reached out to the zonal chairs and said, we want you to be active. We want you to be as part of this as much as all of us in Prashanti. So please go back to your zones and let everybody know, we love to have your input on what should we be doing for centennial celebrations. So if you have some ideas, what you want to do at the central level, what you want to do at the national level, what you want to do at the zonal level, what you want to do at Prashanti Nilayam, all of the above, please let me know. And I'll forward it to the committee and they can keep us in mind, but they've opened the doors for us. And so this is just going to be a wonderful, wonderful year. And so we want to start thinking about it now. So please do ask your center presidents and people to give input. Eventually we'll get some information on travel and when we can go and what are going to be the logistics of it. But it's going to be an amazing, amazing time period with, I'm sure, devotees from around the world glued into Prashanti Nilayam. So that pretty much covers the presentation that I had. And a lot of this was just reviewing what the General Assembly discussed. And I want to open it up really to some questions. And I had invited some of the our zonal advisors to the meeting. And I know I see Brother Rajan Gail is on, and I don't have the whole list in front of me, but maybe if the zonal advisor wants to say anything, Rajan Uncle, if you want to mention anything, please share some of your thoughts with us while we're waiting for some more questions, and I'll scan the list for any of the other zonal advisors that may be on.
Actually, let me take this opportunity and thank you for this wonderful presentation. I mean, I feel so happy seeing such a progress. And as you know, I've been involved with the organization since 1973, and I think the level of detail that has gone into executing various projects and some of the thought process that is going in the pipeline, it's amazing. And believe me, I'm totally speechless because I see Swami working through you and especially the younger generation. And, I really, really feel very good that what I say is very heartwarming. And all I can say is bless you all. I mean, this is tremendous. And we have a lot of things to look forward to. This is opens up for any devotee. This opens up, a plethora of opportunities. Whatever their interest, whether it's devotion, service, or educational. We have a lot of things already streamlined, and I think it's now up to us to make this effort. And again, I remember this Swami's quote. He has mentioned, give me your availability and I'll give you the ability. So, once we make this effort, once we take this step, I think Swami takes everything, he just takes it all the rest of the way. So I'm very happy what I'm seeing here, I'm very, very, pleasantly surprised. And I just wanted to mention the reason I joined in today's conference is that actually I have to attend one of our relative, passed away. So we have a funeral to go to, so on Wednesday. That's why I couldn't, so I thought I'll take this opportunity and not miss this wonderful presentation. Thank you so much.
Sainam, thank you so much. It's always great to have. We have so many wonderful zonal advisors that I have access to, that all the national presidents have access to. And as he said, he's been in Swami's organization from the 70s. So there's a repository of information that we frequently turn to get direction and advice, and it's really reassuring. And the young adults, Rajan Uncle mentioned the young adults, and this is the other thing that you hear a lot in the Indian organization. When I was in Prashanti talking to the All India President, Nimish Pandya, they're really trying to give more and more attention to the young adults, place them in leadership positions, get them involved in the decision-making, because this is really their helm to take. So this is one of the things we're trying to do. And we want every zonal committee to have a young adult there and be involved. And we really want to keep the doors open. So for those of you that are young adults or that know young adults, please encourage your colleagues and friends. And like Uncle Rajan said, all you have to do is give the availability. And Swami makes everything else happen. So if you want to serve Swami, and the organization is really, it's not all of us had the opportunity to serve the physical form of the avatar, and to have had that opportunity at the physical level is an amazing boon and blessing to have been able to do that. So this organization is nothing but an extension of that boon. And so if we do some little task for the organization, this is the excuse Swami is looking for to shower grace upon us. And that's all he's doing. He's sitting back waiting for an excuse to shower more and more grace. And so serving the organization is one mechanism where we get to serve Swami and earn merit and grace. And of course, the best grace is to be given that shraddha and that bhakti, to be given faith and to be given devotion. That's the best grace. And that's what we should all be praying for. Is Swami, give me more faith, give me more devotion, and I'll work for you so that you can continue to strengthen my faith and devotion. And the organization is just a wonderful, wonderful tool that he's given us, an opportunity that he's given us to do so. So Sister Aruna, back over to you. If there are any more questions.
Everyone, again, one more time. If you have any questions, please, we'll post for 1 minute. And if we don't have any question, we'll close the meeting. And by the time, Brother Akshay, thank you so much for sharing so much information for all of us. I think anyone has any question after the meeting, please send us an email. send me an email or directly to Brother Akshay. If you send me one, I would be forwarding to Brother Akshay to get your response. And if we don't have any questions, now we can close the meeting with the closing prayer, brother.
Yeah, just one last point is, please pass on to all the other officers and members that this is Swami's organization, but really it's our organization. Just like Prashanti Nilayam, Swami always says, this is your home. Take ownership. Don't ask, can I come? This is your home. You come. He would tell us, this is your hospital. Don't ask if I can come serve. You just come and serve. This is your hospital. So I think this is the message we want to give to all of our fellow officers and members. This is your organization. So claim ownership of it. It's like your home. And so treat everyone that comes as a guest in your home. And just work for Swami's organization with that mindset. And I think, this Global Council initiative, this is what we're trying to convey, that we just want to be united, we want to be loving, and everyone should belong, and this is their home, and it's an opportunity for us to grow together. So I'm just very, very grateful to all of you for patiently listening. I know it's a long unilateral diatribe, and looking forward to hearing and talking with all of you one-on-one. I'm really looking forward to seeing what your vision is and what your ideas are. And I'm looking forward to learning a lot in those one-on-one calls. And I pray Swami gives his blessings to all of humanity, all of the world, and especially all of you that are working so hard on his behalf. And I thank you so much. Jai Sai Ram.
Sairam, sister
brother.
Vinodini has put a question.
Yeah, Sairam. Vinodini has put up her hand. Sairam, sister Vinodini, you were raised your hand, and do you have any question, please?
I actually posted it on the chat. I don't know whether you can access it.
Oh, yes, I can. Do you want to read the question, or you want me to read it?
You can read.
Okay. Could you clarify when you say you cannot be part of any other organization? Is it religious organization or any cultural organization, etc.?
Yeah, good question. And this is directly coming from Swami. There's a quote that he has that when he first started the organization, is those that are part of this organization shouldn't be part of other spiritual organizations. Now, the way I interpret that is it should be organizations that have other gurus or organizations that are not affiliated with Prashanti Nilayam. So over the years that have been devotees, whether the current devotees, former devotees that have chosen to break ties from Prashanti, start their own organization or veer off, that would be considered an outside organization. So for instance, if you're belonging to the Munanahali group, that's considered an outside organization. So you shouldn't be a member of both. If you're a member of SSIO, that's considered an outside organization. So you shouldn't be a member of both. You pick the organization you want to be a member of. It doesn't apply to being a member of a church or a mosque or a temple. Swami doesn't want us to not go to our place of worship from a traditional background. So you can be a member of a Hindu temple, you can be a member of a mosque, you can be a member of a church. That's not a problem. You just shouldn't be a member of an organization that has another guru or a Sai organization that's distanced itself from Prashanti Nilayam. So hopefully that clarifies it a little bit.
Right.
And if you're an officer, it's even stricter. So if you're an officer, you really shouldn't be attending events. So if there's another organization event, if you're an officer, you really shouldn't be attending those events. If a different guru comes into town, as an officer in Swami's organization, you shouldn't be going there because it'll give the wrong message. If they see officers going to different places, it can give the confusion to a bystander that they may be affiliated or this is endorsed by the organization. So I think officers are held to a higher standard. I don't know if there's any more clarification that's required on that.
What about cultural organizations?
If you can you give me an example, like if the Rotary Club or something like that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Or like Tamil organizations.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely,
That's
not a
okay.
problem at all.
Yeah.
So you could be part of the Rotary Club, you could be part of the Tamil organization, you could be part of any cultural Sanskrit organization, Hindi organization, anything like that. It's just
Actually,
a matter of where there could be a conflict between teachings and messaging, you know, that type of a thing. But no, cultural is fine.
Akshay,
I just want to add to that. I think you shouldn't be holding any officer's position in any other organization. That's number one. I know you can do that, but you cannot be holding an any culture or anything. You cannot be holding two positions like in any officer's position or anything in any other organization. That's what they mean.
No.
If you
No, that's wrong. That is only a religious organization.
Yeah, Sairam, yes. So this is actually coming from Swami, as Akshay mentioned, that we cannot be officers of other spiritual organization. But this sister just mentioned, if she is a chairman of Tamil Association, she can be an officer of Global Council. There's no problem there. In fact, what has happened in my experience, I was also president of the regional president, as well as I was the president of Gandhi Samaj, in New Jersey. And as it turned out, it had a very positive effect because what we bring as a Sai devotee, they were, very appreciative of the way we conducted some of the activities. We used to hold a lot of seva activities, and they were very appreciative. And some of them, in fact, actually did convert to Sai. So that is one of the acceptable. This culture, organization is not a problem.
Yeah. So just to clarify again, if you are a officer, for instance, in the SSIO, you cannot be an officer in Global Council. If you are a member of the SSIO, you cannot be an officer in the Global Council. If you are a president of the Tamil Association, you are allowed to be an officer. Now the other thing that if you are, for instance, if you are a yoga teacher, okay, and you have your own yoga studio and you teach yoga as a business for profit, you shouldn't be an officer in Swami's organization, because the optics are that you could be recruiting people to your business. So that's another thing that we've had in the guidelines, is if you have a business that could potentially be construed as a spiritual event, you shouldn't be an officer in the organization. And this specifically came from Swami in the past. A question was asked to him, if somebody's a yoga teacher, can they be an officer? So I think you can't be any more clear than that. If you're an officer in SSIO or a member of SSIO, you cannot be an officer in Global Council.
Brother, there is a question from Brother Arul also here. Brother Arul, could you please go ahead?
So it is not a question, actually. I basically go in line with what Brother Sridhar mentioned. Okay, I remember once Swami was explaining to one of the state president in India on the portico. Swami said, if you are a president of another organization, and if you are state president, if both organizations have an event on the same day, where will you attend? Where will you go? So you've got to choose there. So don't be in a situation where you have to choose between one or the other, in which case you drop out from one of the organization. So Swami said, if you're holding a position in another organization, so don't hold position. You can attend, you can be a part of the organization, but don't hold a position. So basically, Swami was very particular about the holding position in any organization, for that matter. It's better for you not to hold a position in a Sai organization. That's what basically Swami said. So that's why I'm in line with them. I agree with what Brother Sridhar mentioned, that Swami was very particular about it. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, brother.
And if there are specific instances where there's some doubt, obviously you can always discuss with your national president, and she can help guide you, and she can always run it by me also. So if there's ever any specific instances that you or your membership has questions on, you can always run it by the national president, and they can always run it by me as well. And we always have our zonal advisors we can go to as well.
Yes, Sairam, I do agree too, because there won't be enough time in your some time to spend in both organizations. So it's always better you serve wherever you serve to your best of ability. So choose one. If you don't have enough time for both, just drop one and choose the one you want to present. That's a way you have to look at it as an officers. You have to discharge your duty properly anywhere you are. Thank you. Just I'm adding only to my opinion on this. Thank you. If there is any more comments or suggestions or questions? If not, shall we close our meeting with the closing prayer? Oh, brother, we'll close the meeting with the closing prayer. Shall we?
Yes, I know.
Okay. Sai-san, I think he's on the line. Can you please close the meeting with your closing prayer, please? Thank you, Sairam. We'll offer all the discussions and everything that we have discussed in the meeting to Swami and guide us in the right path. Thank you, Sairam.
समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः